Maybe there are extra people. Namdi, we're actually officially live. If you keep watching, I'll show up there, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, Namdi wants to be a part of the production today. So he is the... Namdi, what's your title? Director?
I don't know.
Okay, you'll be the director, okay? That's the person that's, like, in charge of things behind the scenes. Hold on, let me go fix something real quick, and then I'll go ahead and begin, okay? I gotta put this on mute. All right.
Oh. Oh.
Okay. When I tell you, go ahead and do that, okay? All right, Kaibido. All right, who do we have in the house so far? Once we get to, oh damn, we got to 7 fast. Okay, once we get to 15 people, I'm gonna go ahead and begin. For those of you who do not know, my name is Derek Offor. I'm the host of the Medicine Shell here on YouTube. I teach Igbo spirituality, Igbo cosmology, known as Odinala. I say Odinani because of my accent. Sometimes I pronounce Odinala like Odinala, like Allah. And I don't want to confuse anybody. Carl, ndewo nwanne. I can always count on you. Ndewo. Ndewo. Happy New Year's to everybody. Ndewo. Hey, Namdi, can you go close that door right there?
Oh.
Yeah, let's go close that door.
Great.
Thanks. So, once we get to 15 people, I'm going to go ahead and begin. This is another Ask Me Anything. Any random question that comes to mind, you can go ahead and ask me. She's laughing. Any random question that comes to mind, you can ask me. Pertaining to Igbo spirituality, cosmology, or anything beyond that, right? We got a lot going on in the news. Usually, if I get too carried away or if the questions run out, I'll dip out. So, it's for good luck. Thank you. All right, so my son gave me this. He's going to be very involved in this process today. Ndewo, Michael. Ndewo. Hello. And so before we get to our 15 people, what we typically do, this is a little different. I'm trying to, when I first started this, I had a little bit more production value, and I said, let me make it casual. I said, okay, let me just go back to the production. So we were going to have the lights and everything, but the front-facing light wasn't working as well as it should. So we said, let me just do a half. But you know, all the theatrics are coming back, so that should be fun for 2024. For those of you who are new to the channel, the best way to support is by joining our Patreon community. Patreon.com/The Medicine Shell. Those of you who currently are patrons, we have a group study tomorrow morning, and the group study is going. I haven't thought of a title yet, or like how to title it, but we're going to be talking about.
It says 15 people, right?
I don't know. Has it hit 15?
No, it says 9 people.
Okay, tell me when it's 15. Okay. So.
Go back less. It's 8.
Okay, don't tell me every number, just tell me when it's 15, okay? Cool. So when we're going to be talking about rhythm, especially the rhythm as it pertains to Igbo spiritual or entering the spirit, which is spiritual possession, trance, community spirits, different things like that, like interfacing with the spirit and the importance of rhythm and dancing and that kind of thing. In Igbo spirituality, it is said that, or in Igbo people say that Chuku is a dancing god, right? And the universe is dancing to a rhythm. All life and existence is dancing to a rhythm, is moving to a rhythm. And we as Ndi Odinala are in tune or tuning ourselves to be able to hear that rhythm, most specifically our own place in that rhythm or in that song, so that we can play the part that we were created to play. I'm the son of an Igbo man born in Brazil. Oh, wow. Okay, interesting. Trying to connect with my ancestral spirituality in parts of Patreon community, but couldn't dedicate myself to it yet. It's no big rush as far as Patreon goes. Even the group study I'm talking about now, that we're going to be talking about like spirit and rhythm, and dancing, which is tomorrow. I don't know if I forgot to say that. The replay is always available afterwards, so it's whenever you're comfortable. I don't want to, I don't want anybody to feel guilty because they're on Patreon and they're not being active or anything, anything like that. The Patreon's really about helping the channel, and so if you're there, you're helping the channel, and everything is there for you to use when you have time. So patrons have like access. For those who don't know, have access to this full library. Like, so the library that I used to do my research has like hundreds of documents and books in there. And they're all organized by category. And, some people be like, oh, I've been meaning to read it, but I haven't had time. It's like, that's yours. It's all yours. So whether you get to it, today or in a few months or in a year, that's yours. It's do what you want with it when you on your own time. So we are going to begin when we get 15 people in here.
We have 11.
We're at 11. Yes, we are. So my son is the official technician behind today's episode. We're going to see how good this goes. I think he's going to do a very good job. And then from there, we will begin answering the questions you guys have. So please come with questions. For those of you who don't know, the way this works for me is once the questions stop, I stop. So we can be here till 5 a.m. if you guys need. So I'll do my 5 a.m. my time. I don't know what time it is where you guys are at. Michael, are you
14?
Born in Brazil? Michael, are you currently in Brazil? We got one more to go, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So and I forgot to mention, while we wait for that one more person to join, right? If you are going to be learning the Igbo language in 2024, we are signing up for the winter course. So we are signing up everybody that's going to be learning in this next session coming in February. The website is www.kedu.me. Now you can go ahead and push the button and send it. Push the airplane. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Perfect. So the website is www.kedu.me. Kedu is an Igbo language school that I started, and I built it.
Still 14 people.
I appreciate that, Nandi. I set up Kedu based on how our ancestors see teaching and view understanding, right? And we have a very unique way of teaching the Igbo language, and it's very effective. Those of you who have taken classes, if you're in the audience, you can let people know whether it's good or not. But it's very effective, and it is, if you like the content I share here, you'll like Kedu, because we don't just teach the language, we also teach culture, and it's impossible to teach language the Igbo language at a higher level.
16.
Yes, I know. Okay, so I'm gonna get to that. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So it's it's difficult to teach the Igbo language at a higher level without getting into the spirituality of it, the cosmology of it, and things. So it's all a part of the universe that we're creating here. So that being said, we have hit 16 people. Ndewo, rising divinity. Ndewo. Love your little man's energy. I love his energy too. Yeah. So it's he said, all right, so let me go ahead. Ngozi Nwanne, Ngozi. Let me go ahead and begin, okay? So what I'm going to be doing now is called Iwaochi, which is the breaking of the kola nut. Now, I don't have a kola nut with me, just because I'm in the middle of nowhere. I have ordered some, or let me not say I have ordered some, I'm ordering some in the morning. And so we'll go back to doing it the normal way, because I haven't had kola nut in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks now. But typically I would present kola nuts to you. Now, what does the kola nut represent? So the four-lobed kola nut represents many things to our ancestors. First and foremost, it represents the individual, because you are a composite of 4 parts. And the Igbo kola nut breaks in 4, right? These things are Eke, Urie, Offor, and Kwo. They can also be.
Down to 14.
It's fine. As long as we get to 15 once, then we're good. Yeah. It can also be Chi, Eke, Agu, Mo. Now you gotta be quiet, okay? Yeah, Chi, Eke, Agu, Mo. Many different things. So, and the human heart as well as communion and togetherness with your ancestors, the elements that create you, yourself, and then your progeny, those that will be standing in your place in the future. So with that being said, let's go ahead and begin. Ekekeruwa, alawala, alanamadu na nemo, alanenyendo, ne ainine, Kenya ayuwa, Kenya nyoma, aije naka na mawanyi. Aji obi ọma na-ekele gị. Ajikwa obi ọma na-ekele ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ, ndị ọkpụ na ndị ichie, ndị mbu na ndị egede, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ, ụmụ ajana na ụmụ kpakpando eluigwe. Ọwụ obi ọma ka anyị ji na-ekele unu. Otu unu fụrụ m bụ otu m dị. Obi m dị ọcha, aka m dị ọcha, ụkwụ m dị ọcha, mana ana m aga ije Chineke kere ka m gaa n'ụwa. Ma onye ọbụla ebe niile unu nọ, nke m na-ekwu ọ ga-adị. Ana m ekwu maka udo, ọ ga-adị. Ana m ekwu maka ngọzi, ọ ga-adị. Ana m ekwu maka akụ na ụba, ọ ga-adị. Ana m ekwu maka akụ na ụba, ọ ga-adị. Ana m ekwu maka akọ na uche, ọ ga-adị. Ana m ekwu maka ije na ụkwụ, ọ ga-adị. Otu a ka ọ ga-adị na Eke, na Orie, na Afọ, na Nkwọ. Ise. Hey, homegirl healer. Ndewo, happy New Year to you too. One udo. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and begin. Those of you who have questions, go ahead and ask. Patrons, we have a group study in the morning. The group study is going to be about rhythm, spirituality, looking at your spirituality like dancing or like a dance, rhythm with your forces, the Abara, being in rhythm with your Chi, being in rhythm with your ancestors, what that means, what that looks like. Rhythm as a creative output or an output as a muse, rhythm as a muse, different things like that. So we're going to be talking about rhythm. That's what we're going to be discussing from the ancestral perspective. Then, of course, the thing I love about the group study is that everybody comes with their different schools of thoughts and their disciplines, and everybody shares it. And so if you're on Patreon, join us in the morning. I'm not seeing any questions, guys. What's going on? Let me scroll up and see if there's any questions. Okay, I see a question mark. Why do ancestors give cryptic messages? This is such a good question. All right. So there's an interesting thing about how we receive messages beyond the human level. Messages come to us and through us and to all things as impulses known as ako na uche. Ako and uche, right? And what happens, and I'll just use uche to say them generally. What happens when we receive uche is that we make sense of it, if that makes sense. So we'll look at uche like a vibration. You're going to receive a vibration. And based on your understanding, based on your own imagination, you will match that vibration to meaning based on what you understand that vibration to be. Okay, so for example, now you will notice a lot of cultures will have, I'm trying to think of an example here. A lot of cultures will have this, here's one. A lot of cultures will have an understanding about a bird, right? Or some type of animal that doesn't, or not animal, sorry, a bird that doesn't die, right? And for some reason, that bird always comes to people's collective imagination when they receive that impulse. It always comes in the form of a bird with a long serpentine body, and it always comes in the form of one with a strong bill that curves down this way. Now, in some cultures, that turns into a dragon, right? In a lot of African cultures, that turns into the hornbill, right? In some places, it turns into a snake with wings, right? that type of thing. So you're receiving this
Another
impulse.
question.
I'll answer it. Don't worry. Thank you, though. You receive this impulse, and then you make your imagination does something with it. There's an ilu that says, it's one of my favorite ones. I use this one all the time. It says that the bird builds its nest with what it finds on the forest floor, right? The bird builds its nest with what it finds on the forest floor. So the general impulse is nest. And then based off of what's on the forest floor, your forest floor, you make sense out of it. Now, oftentimes when we receive these things, they become cryptic because they do depend on our interpretation. So that is why the messages received from beyond the human space are a little more cryptic, because there is that transfer that then requires you to piece things together, right? There's another ilu that says, Maruba afa bauche. Afa is divination. When you do divination, you're receiving those raw impulses. Those raw impulses are given meaning based off of what is on your forest floor, right? Based on what is on your forest floor. So, let me see here. Uche is my dad's name. Well, there now you know why. Adema. Okay. In 2024, I'm gonna come to a group study. Say, I think you'll have fun. It's one of my favorite things to do in the month. I'd like to know, if possible, what is the most basic practice that I can incorporate in my day to connect to my life purpose, which is my chi, right? Okay, cool. Oh, Michael, I don't know what you're doing currently or what you're doing already, but the most basic thing I would advise is to communicate with your chi. When you communicate with your chi, you receive back. If you don't communicate, you stop hearing, or you don't hear as frequently. Maybe you'll hear out of nowhere, or an emergency or something like that. But the more you make that aspect of you a part of your regular life, the better. I had this discussion. So for those who don't know, we used to have an in-house Debia. Then I stopped having an in-house Debia, but recently I've brought back the in-house Debia. So if any of you guys are looking to get a reading, the in-house Debia is available for patrons, patreon.com/themedicine show. I think I pinned the thing up top. But I was having a conversation with the in-house Debia, and we were talking about greetings, right? And the importance of greetings. And I was saying something along the lines of, that you'll notice that if you don't greet somebody, after a while, a tension starts to develop, right? Like you walk into an elevator, another person walks to the elevator, you guys don't say anything to each other. If that elevator ride takes too long, the tension starts to bubble up, right? But if you greet each other, it's not the same, right? It's not necessarily the same. That's why greetings are important. One of the reasons greetings are important, because he was talking to me about how sacred greetings are in Igbo culture, right? A greeting is sacred. When you go to your altar, which all you're doing is greeting, right? And so that greeting, being able to greet your chi, being able to greet your ancestors, being able to greet whatever it is that makes you who you are, is how you begin receiving, because the tension in that relationship begins to thaw, right? If you've gone years and years and you haven't done the greeting, begin just the basic greeting process. Basic greeting process is what I just did earlier. I said Eke Keruwa, right? The Eke that created the universe. That's one of the names for God. Anam ekelegi, I greet you. Anam ekelegi, I greet you, right? Anam ekelegi, anam ekelegi, I greet you. That's really it. Just greet. That's the most basic thing you can do. Wake up in the morning and greet the sun, especially if you're a man. Wake up in the morning and greet the sun, Igwe, that kind of thing, or Anyanwu. Igwe, that type of thing. And I say, if you're just do that one. In fact, you'll feel a physical difference, right? After a while, look right at the sun and greet, right? Greeting, that's the most basic thing you can do, and that's all you're going to be doing really. If you become more advanced, is greeting. You'll just learn more things and more people you should be greeting over time. So continue greeting. You will hear. Makes sense. Does Odinani involve necromancy aside from contact with ancestors? Odinani is a science, right? And so it's a science. It's very hard to call a religion. It's a science. And because it is a science, it can involve anything you want it to involve. With all of the knowledge you are receiving or you personally have or you're being made aware of, you can then use them like Legos to do whatever. So there are people who can or who would claim that they can get into necromancy based on this knowledge, right? So it's your choice. It's like just like with any other science, right? Like, okay, does I don't know, chemistry deal with necromancy? Yeah, to an extent. I mean, if you wanted to sit down and do something like that, you can, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's there, but it's not necessary, right? It's not necessary. Try not to look for the way to do it before, and I mean it. I mean Igbo spirituality or African spirituality in general. Don't worry about how to do it. Just worry about what you want to do first, right? What do I want to do? And then, okay, based on the knowledge I have or the knowledge I can access and find within myself, how am I going to go about doing this in a way that is optimal or best for me, right? So if you want to get into necromancy, yeah, it's there. You can do that, you know. There was Jeru the Damager has one of my favorite lines in history. And he says, the chips that power nuclear bombs power my Sega. And that's kind of how Odinani works, right? So the same knowledge that you use to, maybe you're using Odinani knowledge to go to the gym, that's the same you can use to do necromancy. So that's all it is. It makes so much sense. Thank you. Very cool. Makes understanding the concept of intuition so much easier. Understand and trust. That's a lot of what we're going to be talking about tomorrow in the Patreon. It's about trust. It's about trust. Trusting yourself. Trusting yourself. Once you reach that threshold, you're good. Okay, I got a question. Do you subscribe to Odinani? To the Odinani, give as much importance to the Most High as opposed to self in comparison to monotheist doctrines? Yeah, so Chuku is not that important in Odinani. Chuku, like the Most High, the big God, is not that important in Odinani. And the reason Chuku is not that important in Odinani is because there's nothing to discuss with Chuku. Chuku is almost like an event, right? There's nothing to discuss with Chuku. Everything Chuku wants done will happen. Everything Chuku has set in place has set in place. It's going. The ball is now rolling down the hill, right? If I throw a ball down the hill, there's not much person who threw the ball has to say about what's going to happen. I set the trajectory, I rolled it, right? Anything else is between the ball and the hill, right? We're the ball and the hill, that kind of thing. So Chuku doesn't play that big of a role. Chuku becomes very important once like Christianity sets in, because what happens, a lot of people are leaving Christianity and going back to their ancestral traditions, but they're carrying over some of the values of Christianity. And in Christianity, the big Chuku is the important one. For Igbo, if you want to talk about something other than your personal chi and your ancestors, the earth, Anna, is the most important by far, right? By far is the earth, right? She's the one that's and typically when we talk about Abara, we're not talking on a community level. These are things that communities do. It's not really an individual thing. You can't have an individual relationship, but it's usually anything, and it's going to be community. And when things are happening in a community, it's usually, that kind of thing. It always goes back to her. So she's the most important one, just from basic observation. But if Chuku is important to a person and you want it to be, it's not like you're not wrong for doing that. I'm just telling you how Igbo as our ancestors and as people just view the world and so forth. Chuku has done what Chuku wants to do. Chuku is the center. Chuku is the heart, right? So if you think about if you think about speaking, right? Speaking. Chuku is the thought. By the time you hear it, which is what we're experiencing, by the time you experience that thought, it's not necessarily the thought you need to appeal to anymore, right? You don't need to appeal to the thought anymore, right? Because the thought, it's already happened, right?
coming right back.
That's fine, no problem, buddy. So, my analogy is spot on. Really? Because I feel like I'm bugging. I appreciate that. Necromancy. Is that the same thing as Ogul in Odinani? So my next video is going to be on Ogul. I'm actually working very, very tirelessly to release it tomorrow morning, right? So there's a lot happening tomorrow. But necromancy is Ogul is there can be necromancy in Ogul, but Ogul is using the human intellect, right, to solve a problem. So any science, any technology, any alchemy, any magic is all using human intellect to do something. Human intellect is all. So of course necromancy would fall in that umbrella, right? My next video is on all. So yeah, that can definitely be part of it. What does Chuku mean? Chuku is the eagle of Chuku, the eagle of God, God's eagle. Chuku, God's eagle. The significance of that is that the eagle is seen as a symbol of dignity. It is seen as a symbol of purity. It is seen as a symbol of pride and courage. Pride, courage, dignity. It is also seen as a symbol for justice and intervention, right? So it's almost like saying, like, you know how, what's that superhero? I want to say Birdman, where it has a hawk that comes and perches on his head. You're that hawk for Chuku, right? So Chuku might be like, hey, I need you to go tell him I'm coming, all right? You're the one they send. That's the meaning of Ugo Chuku. It's a very powerful name. It's my brother's name, actually. Hold on. Let me make sure we always close this door, okay? All right. Okay, let me see. More questions. My score is 23. Thank you.
23 people watch it.
Thank you. I love that. All right, thank you very much, Nabi. So, I've never called it a score before. That's why I was laughing. So, my son's keeping score of how many people are in here. My son loves numbers, so that's him. Nigeria is in there. I was listening to another Igbo spirituality channel. They said Ekede is masculine. I thought Ekede was feminine. All of the days are feminine. All of the days are feminine. If there's a masculine day, and it's fine. People can say different things. It's okay. It's a matter of if somebody says water is H2O, other person says no, it's CO2, then we can then start experimenting and see what makes sense and what's correct. But all the days are feminine. And the reason is if Ekede were masculine, then the Eke market would be manned by men. And no market is manned by men. They're all, English is so funny, they're all manned by women. So every market day is feminine. In folklore, any story about the 4 market days, it's always women. But within each market day, so this is why I'm saying the person's not wrong. Within each market day, a market day is like a house. And within that house, there is a masculine and a feminine. A masculine and a feminine, okay? Within each house, okay? So there's a masculine in Ekede, there's a feminine in Ekede, but the house concept, the vessel, is always feminine. The market is always feminine, and that kind of thing. And then Eke Ruwa, Chineke, that kind of thing. It's the same thing. I think a lot of people say that because they want to have like, okay, 2 of them will be masculine, just basic logic as far as how Igbo things work. 2 will, of course, have to be masculine. 2 will have to be feminine, that kind of thing. But in every single folk story I've ever heard of the market days, they're all women. They're always presented as women. Then, of course, Eke Market, you go there, it's a bunch of women. Eke Day, Women's Day it's everybody's day of rest, but it's specifically Women's Day. Like so, for a lot of communities, you can't have a wedding on Eke Day because none of the women would be able to participate, and so the women's organizations, things like that, they don't allow it. And when you go to the women and say, okay, I want to have a wedding on Eke Day, they'll tell you, we can't do. So no, it's definitely a feminine day. Suruko. But that's what I mean by, if somebody says this, and we can then start examining. So said person might say some things that maybe I wasn't aware of, and then from there I'll start thinking otherwise. So when somebody says that, you can inquire and ask a little bit more, but don't ever tell, oh, you're wrong. If the land teaches us what happens when a people are disconnected from the land, They are what Nigerians call Oyo, which is OYO. You are on your own, right? If you're disconnected from the land, you are on your own. But even if you're not connected to the land is speaking, right? And you're acting. You might not just be conscious of it. One of the interesting things too is, our ancestors say these things, and you start seeing it once it's said. You start seeing it in different places, and so forth. But pay attention to how certain cultures are, and the effect of geography on culture. We already know that's if not massive, everything, right? But it goes deeper than just, oh, they're by the river so they swim and da, da, da. There's also a nature people take based off of where they live and so forth. I'll use the example of people who live on mountains, right? Cultures that are high altitude or live on mountains, there's a certain nature they have. Cultures that are on plains, there's a certain cult nature that they have. One of the ways that's very loud and clear, like one of the places where it's more loud and clear is like the North American Native Americans, and how each culture represented itself and based on the land that they lived in. So the land is always speaking or always acting. That's one of the places that we get this thing we call consciousness. But when you are aware, you can be more deliberate in that relationship. And when you're more deliberate, you can actualize a lot more. I've been picking a lot of Hold on. I've been picking up a lot of philosophical sayings from Igbo musicians. Oh yeah, that's the treasure trove. What does? I'm sorry. Onodu Ugo Adigi Egbe Ma. I don't know. I don't know what Onodu means. So if anybody who knows, let chime in. But the something of an eagle does not, and then I don't know how Ebwe is being said, if it's Ebwe or that kind of thing. But the something of the eagle is not the eagle, not the gun, hawk, something else good. So as you're hearing what I'm saying, it's not making too much sense. I got some production notes. Hold on. Oh, these are the different scores?
Ready.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is your goal.
That's my goal?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to it. Let's do it. I like that. So my goal is 35 people.
Oh.
Well done, Nambi. All right. So, how do you talk to your chi? Ultimately, you will be the one who tells me how you talk to your chi. It's a very specific relationship and personalized relationship. But there's a general starter method, right? What you can do is you can somehow represent it, right? Which is setting up an altar or a sacred space and treat that space sacred, right? If there's some buffoonery that you as a human being are into, just don't do it in that room, right? Just don't. If there's some goofy behavior that you as an individual, if there's something less than sacred that you do, don't do it in that room. That's very simple, right? But set up something that represents it. Regard that thing as sacred. Treat it sacred. It is sacred. It's a representation of you and your creator. And then just begin this process of speaking, right? Hey, this is me. That kind of thing, yada, yada, yada. Now, you can do it the Igbo way, right? Which is just a simple greeting, right? My creator, I greet you. Earth, I greet you. This is when I'm doing my eulogy, this is what I'm saying. Creator, I greet you. Earth, I greet you. Earth, the good mother who brings good things, who gives me life, I greet you. I'm coming to you with a good heart. I'm coming to you with clean hands. I'm coming to you, I'm trying to think, with a pure mind. I'm coming with you with love to give. I haven't done anything to desecrate myself. I have not committed evil against others. Maybe right now what I'm saying or something, I don't know. I have not committed evil against others. I have not wished wrong against another. I have not taken what doesn't belong to me, right? And then here's the big difference between talking to your chi in like a Christian way and in an Igbo way. You're not asking for things from your chi. You're telling your chi. You're saying, today, this is what's going to happen, right? We're going to have peace. So when I was talking, I said, those who are listening are going to receive peace, right? We're going to have peace. We're going to have wealth. We're going to have growth. We're going to have ijenoko. So that's like, we're going to have a journey and everything it takes to make that journey, right? We're going to have, so I don't know how you say that in English in like a concise way, but whatever. We're going to have the journey and everything it takes to have that journey. Whatever it is you're going to have that day, you say it, right? Onyekwe, what you will, your chi wills, right? So what you do is you greet, of course. Just like, look at it, you talk to your chi the way you talk to a person, right? You walk in the room, hey, how you doing? I'm all right. How are you doing? Of course, you're not, you get a little more formal than that. But how you doing? I'm good. How are you doing? Okay, yeah. So, hey, hey, today I wanted to do, I think we should do this, yada, yada, yada. Okay, great. Let's do that. Boom. It's that simple, right? It's that simple. It's not, oh, my chi, oh, I'm not worthy. Oh, please give me this, give me that. No, you say it, you will it, you manifest it. You say it with your whole chest, right? Your chi created you as its representative on the earth, right? So you're not a subservient. You are an extension. You're an extension, right? That kind of thing. So you're laying in bed, your whole body's an extension. All right, we got to get up and get some coffee. You get up and go, right? It's not legs, please, legs, please. I need to get coffee, please. Legs, I need coffee. If you give me coffee, I'll do this, I'll do that. I'll never do this again. No, just, all right, time to get coffee. Let's go. That kind of thing. So, and the way it works on a small scale, it works on a big scale.
Wow,
so
it's
really that simple. Somebody asked a big question.
Yes.
I hope my answer. Oh, okay, thank you so much. So, that makes sense. Oh no, dude, how it is circumstance. Thank you so much, Udochi. Udochi, you're good, dude. Hold on. So let me go back to the Ilu. The Ilu, what I'm trying to find that Ilu again about the hawk and the eagle. So based on that, I'm thinking it's saying, if I'm not remembering the words, so somebody type that Ilu again so I can interpret it, because now it's racking my brain. Namdi, what's up? All right, I'm getting production notes. You had a lot of questions. This is good. Thank you. Okay, so we're still trying to get to that goal, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Let's get. All right, so my sentence says we got to get 35 people in here. So post this on the group chat. Send this to somebody who you think would be interested or would have something to gain from this discussion. Post this on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you need to post it. Just ask me anything, whatever question you have, ask here. I'll try to answer. If the land teaches, Turugo. Okay, been listening to the music. Found it. All right. So the circumstance of the eagle.
If you hit your goal, then it becomes higher.
Okay. So Onodu, the circumstance or the situation of the eagle, is not good for the hawk. I don't know. What do you think that means? I don't know what that. I can't give you an answer that's like, this is the universal meaning. I can give you my interpretation, right? I can give you my interpretation, and that could be saying that this person benefiting over here does not necessarily mean you're benefiting. So oftentimes with an ilu, depends when you're saying it. It becomes what it's supposed to mean based on when you're saying it, the circumstance, right? It's being built with what's on the forest floor. So I can give you this idea, this impulse. And then from there, you will tell me what it means based on the situation.
We just need 6 more people in here.
Say it again?
6. We just need 6 more people in here.
Okay, good. We're doing good. So, for example, if I go, Beyonce just went platinum, and then somebody goes, Onodu, Ugo, Adigi, Ebema, or maybe it's a jealousy thing. maybe it's a jealousy thing, right? Maybe Beyonce going platinum might piss me off because I'm not Beyonce, right? Now, why I gotta be fucking, that kind of thing. I don't know. You tell me what it means. It's an ilu, so it's philosophy. Yeah, the position of the eagle doesn't. Okay, you already figured this out well before me. Thank you so much. Or is that the hawk is jealous of the eagle? Maybe. Okay, I think we're going through the same thought process. I see the chi. Okay.
11 more people.
I see the chi as the intuition that speaks to us, and I speak back. It absolutely is the intuition that speaks to you. Yes, your chi speaks to you through intuition, through resonance, through circumstance and events, right? Through dreams. Dreams are huge, huge neutral space for all your forces. Ademma. But yes, your first voice is your chi. At the same time, if your first voice is your chi, the first thing you say is what the chi receives. So you are very careful with what you do with the mouth, what you say, because the first thing you say is what your chi hears, right? There's an ilu that says the chi receives the first thing and has no concern for the second, right? So, Ademma. Where are we at? Okay, I think I see a question. If I do something I regret one day, should I ask for forgiveness or something? If you do something you regret, ask for forgiveness from the person you violated, right? And if you need forgiveness from yourself, ask yourself for forgiveness. You understand? So, yeah. If you do something that you're like ashamed of, you atone or do whatever you need to do in the way that makes sense. It's not that I'll go and start beating people up and then I'll come home and start talking to my chi about, oh no, I might apologize to my chi for dragging my chi into that less than behavior, right? That kind of thing. But my apologies to the person I violated. And that's the thing about Odinani too, is you're very specific as to where you target your messages, right? So if there's a thing Nigerians always say that after the doctor finishes healing you, you now start thanking God, right? Right? Or, or a plane's crashing and a pilot, navigates and makes sure everybody lands safely, and we all start thanking God, right? And that kind of thing. You thank the pilot, right? Thank the pilot, right? Because if God was acting through the pilot. There's an ilu that says that when the dibia heals Chuku, Chuku thanks the dibia, right? When a dibia heals Chuku, Chuku thanks the dibia. Understand? So let's say God has a broken leg, is what this ilu is implying, and goes to the dibia, and the dibia heals Chuku, the God's broken leg, Chuku's broken leg. Chuku will thank the dibia, right? That kind of thing. You direct messages, you direct things where they're pointed. If I receive water from you, if you give me water, I'll thank you for giving me the water, and then I'll also thank the water for sustaining me, right? It's not that I'll just skip all of you guys and start talking about Chuku. That's not the way. Shots fired. Wait, what did I say? Oh, we will get to 35 people. He said, all right, Namdi, somebody said we're going to get to 35 people.
I saw that earlier.
Okay, cool. Oh, you've been reading messages too. Can the altar be a picture or just a space on the wall? Yeah. So it's important that your sacred space.
I dreamt that my brother-in-law passed away.
Okay, I'll read that in a minute, okay? So, interesting though. Okay, so what's I gonna say? Give me a minute. Yeah, your sacred space has to feel like a sacred space, right? So whatever it takes for you to represent that or to make that happen, right? Do it. And this is controversial. You'll get people that'll disagree with me, but I'll tell them exactly why I'm saying what I'm saying. It's totally fine to disagree. But when you go to that sacred space, you have to feel like you're in communion with yourself. Or that you're looking at yourself. You have to feel like you're looking at your ancestors or you're in feel. Important to say this.
Someone says you skipped my question.
Okay, ask it again, Biko. Ask it again. So what was I gonna say? It has to feel like you're in communion with yourself, with your ancestors, with your creator, with the earth. Yeah, you have to feel these things, right? Pictures help people get there. Pictures help people get there, but a lot of people have their own very artistic ways of doing that, or very different ways of doing that, right? And so forth. So whatever it is that your own chi says, let's represent it this way, you do that. I remember, and I always tell this story, when I first started, I looked up how do you set up an altar, and I had the table with all things, and I just felt like I was talking to rocks. It was very silly. And I'm very, like, by nature, I'm a very skeptical person, so this is already a leap beyond my normal way, right? But by nature, I'm a gardener. I like to grow things. That's how I...
Someone has a question about me.
Okay.
Is that me a paid employee now? No.
Namdi, are you a paid employee?
No!
No? Okay.
I'm just a kid.
You're just a kid, okay. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what the labor laws say. Anyways, I might be employed by him. He's the one setting the goals and stuff. But yeah. I already gardened, right? And I always felt this peace when I gardened. And that felt sacred to me, right? Everything about the growing process felt sacred to me. And one day I just said, why don't I just make my garden my altar? And then all of a sudden, that's where the whole channel came from. That's where everything came from, right? And it's where it went from about 80% research, 20% figuring things out, to about like the other way around. Like things just started coming, right? And so yeah, you do what it takes to make that spark happen, right? But there are some ground, just basic things, right? Whatever your altar is or however you represent it, make sure it's getting sunlight. Whatever it is, make sure that it has access to the elements. Like some people have water at their altar, or will bring water every now and then, that kind of thing, because you're simulating life. So you need everything that makes life to happen there. People have different ways of representing it, right? I had one girl, she wears her altar on her body. She says that she's her altar. And that's exactly, she gets it, right? She gets it on a very high level. So people have different ways. Some people go to their altar and they sing. Some people play music. Some people just speak. Some people meditate. I meditated one day and I fell asleep. I had a very interesting dream. Very, very interesting dream, but I was grateful for it. All right, so here's the question, Udochi. Thank you so much for being patient. If you have a big project to complete, like many books to read, and I'm struggling with where and how to begin, what kind of guidance do you seek from your chi ancestors? Namdi, hold on, please. How to complete, struggling with where to begin. What kind of guidance do you need, chi? Udochi, I would say have faith with the fact that they're with you and just start, right? I think sometimes we want to have the perfect, because I've known you long enough to know that our minds have very, very obvious commonalities, right? And so you always, because you've been letting, I'm just speaking because I know me, because you've been letting the idea stew in your head so long, it's way up here now. And so when something's way up here, you don't even know where to start and that kind of thing. Just let all that go and just do the first thing. Just do whatever that first thing is, right? Just start typing. Even, I don't know the nature of the project, but I would start typing under the perception or idea that you're going to erase whatever you type. And just start typing and typing, and then it'll start flowing out. It'll start coming out. Your chi already knows. Your chi already knows how to execute this project, right? You already know how to execute this project. You already have.
There are 2 questions about me.
I'm going to answer them. I have to answer the question and then go to them. So if they start lining up, then I'll get to them. Okay. So yeah. So your chi already has what it takes to finish the thing. Just go, right? There, the Ilu says that the ram You know what I'm saying? That the ram enters battle head first, right? If I were you, if you have an altar, or if you have any type of way of practicing, just say, "This is what I'm about to do. Let's go," or "Come with me," right? In your own words, right? This is what I'm about to do. Follow me, and then just start. Don't think about this. You know, trust me, I have the same mind too. Big project. All of a sudden, I start whatever the requirement is. It can be asked for three things. All of a sudden, I'm on thing 75. I'm trying to make sure thing 75 is perfect before I get to thing 76. No, just go. So I'll do my. Hope that helped. Yesterday I found out my elements. Awesome. I'll do my. Things have been hard for me. Came across a post where it said Uriah should buy a white plate, buy different fruits, and sacrifice to her. Okay, I don't know if that's a question or like a statement, but yeah, so Uriah, water receives things that are sweet, things that are white or like metallic, like silver, gold colors, yellow, and then things that are sweet and things that like children would like. So yeah, that sounds normal. That makes perfect sense. Fruit, you know. So what you do is you just take it, you put on something white. You would take it in a bowl, please not plastic. You take it to a body of water and you give it like a gift. You say, "This is my gift," so on and so forth, yada yada yada. I take it a little step further than I think the average person, and I would say just include things that fish would eat, right? So whatever it is, if it's sweet, make sure it's like biodegradable and all that stuff, and you should be fine from there. But people will add like toys and jewelry and things like that. So it's whatever your intuition tells you. Namdi's about to unionize. Okay, I think I read one of the ones about you, right? That's the one, right? Somebody.
And one of the other ones say, "Namdi, you are awesome."
Yeah, I see it. Namdi, you're awesome. All right. Okay, so I must have missed Ania's question. Something about, but somebody that's answering it. Ania, if you want to ask a question again, I would appreciate that. I'm not so close to my father, who is Igbo, and all my uncles and aunts live abroad. I don't know much about my ancestors. Is quite important. Yes, ancestors are very important. So you don't need to be close to. It's gonna sound crazy. You don't need to your give your parents their respect, but they're not central to your connection to your land. And I think one of the reasons I have to explain this because Igbo land functions very differently from a lot of places in the world. So as long as you know the community your father's from, as long as you know where that's from, there's nothing your father can give you that that community can't give you as well, because the whole community is your father, right? So if you need to learn the names of your ancestors, I would try to start.
This has been here for like years.
No, just today. I have to stay up tonight. Go put it down. Yeah. So if you are trying to learn more about the specific way that community practices spirituality and so forth, I would just start reaching out to people from there. I'll tell you right now, if you land, you don't know anybody, and you say, "I'm the son of this person," they'll take you to a very specific place. You'll meet about 200 people who know you and have been factoring you in several of the things they do for decades without you even knowing it, right? They've been factoring you in several of the things they do without you even knowing it, that kind of thing. So try to put your community in the place that maybe you have your father in, right? Figure out the name. Maybe you already know name of that community and either connect to people from there or try to find your town meeting if it's possible where you're at, which odds are it is. And if you can't do your town meeting, try to do like your state meeting, which is almost certain. And if you can't do state meeting, find the Igbo meeting, which definitely exists, and they'll take it from there. But yeah, I would just find out the name of your ancestors, and if you're not close to your father, this might also be a calling to begin to build that relationship, even if you're not the one in violation, right? Even maybe the father is wrong, right? But you're an adult now, so we have to start going in the direction that we want to go rather than where life put us. And if you want to go in a certain direction, you need to ask him questions. Ask him that question so you can move to where you are moving to as a man. So I was born on Uriah Day. Does that mean anything? That I can't swim and don't like sweets. Yeah, no, just because you're from Oriente doesn't mean that you can swim and that you like sweets. That's not what it is. Now, if you were Obanje and you couldn't swim, then now we'd be talking about something different, but you're probably not since you can't swim. Are you doing any ritual for the new year? Yeah, but like the Igbo New Year, not this one.
Actually, you have a time limit to hit 35 people.
Yes. So we're gonna be having a celebration. It's hard to even call it a New Year. We're gonna be having a celebration.
When it hits 1 hour ago, then the timer's gonna be over.
Okay.
You have 5 minutes.
I have no. I don't. That's not how it works. I go until they stop asking questions. Yeah, I go until they stop asking questions. Yeah. So Jet Machuzo, Namdi. Jet Machuzo. But yeah, so I go until, or I'm still talking to him. So on the second moon of the year, right? Second moon of the year, I'm just gonna have like a family party with my family. Nandi, Machuzo.
Oh,
Yeah.
door.
Yeah. So on the second moon, we're gonna have a celebration. This is typically around the time of Mardi Gras. Those of you who are familiar with like Carnival, Mardi Gras, this is what's being celebrated. It's actually the African New Year. But we don't call it a New Year for some reason. I mean, I know why. We just don't call it a New Year. The belief is this: in most communities, like in coastal West Africa, they'll celebrate the second moon rather than the first moon. Igbo say that nothing stands on its own, right? Nothing stands by itself. So the first moon, the year hasn't started yet, right? It's like if a child is being born and half of the child's body is out, the child's not all the way out yet. It's when the two halves of that child are completely out that we then celebrate the child is born, that kind of thing. So the second moon is a celebration, which is around February, Mardi Gras time. For those of you who are patrons on the calendar, you should be able to follow that on the calendar. And I think, let me know on Patreon if you guys want to do something, like have like a celebration or something, join in on the festivities. I'll do more. Okay, so let me see if I missed any questions before I answer the one I just saw. Oh, but for this New Year's, me and Namdi are gonna have a party. Yeah, me and my son decided that we're gonna have a party tomorrow for New Year's. I have a whole lot of stuff I gotta get done tomorrow, so if I can execute all of them, I'll very much look forward to that rest that I'll have with that party. So, what sets people apart from others if their ancestors bear the same name as the Arushi? What do you mean by that? I kind of understand the question. What sets people apart from others? I'm sorry, I'm not reading that right. Yeah. What sets people apart from others if their ancestors bear the same name as the Arushi? Almost all of our ancestors bear a name as like an Arushi or something. So I don't think it's super significant if your ancestor has the same name as an Arushi. Like it doesn't mean like if you have an ancestor named Igwe, it's normal. It's not unusual at all. And so I don't think it's anything to really think about. It just means that your ancestors' parents wanted to name that child after that Arushi for some reason. So I can barely think of an Igbo name that doesn't point back to some type of Abara or something. Okay, let me not say that. So a lot of Igbo names in the past pointed to like an Abara or some type of concept that we would now consider Odinani, but the original name of Odinani is just Igbo. So just my own name, Offor, Offor, if you want to call Offor Arushi, I don't know, maybe. But Offor is, or if you want to call it a deity, I don't think that's the right term for it, for any of these concepts really, but sure. But Offor is definitely not in something they teach about in Sunday school, right? Trying to think of some other names. But yeah, most people's names, or not most, a lot of people's last names will have some type of albino. It doesn't mean anything. So he said, wow, he really understands Igbo. Yeah, Namdi is a Kedu student. Namdi is a Kedu student for the Kedu Kids program. All right, Namdi, let me get the stats. Oh, these are all the numbers so far?
So subscribers need to get to this much.
to 20,000? I agree. Yeah, I completely agree. So Namdi says we got to get 20,000 subscribers. So if you are not subscribed already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I get the sense we're all out of questions. Why do Igbo people call? Good question. Why do Igbo people call themselves children of the rising sun? Is it because they were being enlightened?
What if you got 100 people watching?
That'd be pretty crazy. So this is a good question. I understand the term, but it's hard to answer too. But life comes from the sun. Life comes from the sun, right? Human beings come from the earth, but life comes from the sun. It was the sun that gives us life, right? So the sun is an original ancestor, and we're children of that ancestor, and we are perpetually linked to that ancestor. As it rises, we rise. We receive our consciousness and our ability and our being directly from the sun. And at the same time, when our ancestors were to appeal to the higher force, right? So I wouldn't say Chuku, but like Chuku's intermediary. So like Amadioha, Igwe, Ekwensu, all these different things. Then sometimes Chuku too, they would point directly to the sun. When we remember I was saying earlier, make sure your altar is getting sunlight. When our ancestors pray, they prayed into and towards the sun. That's why I was saying in the morning it's important to greet the sun as the sun is rising and so forth. So all of these things, as everything pertaining to Igbo culture, always goes back to the earth and the sun, right? The earth and the sun. And then, yeah, that's really it. But that's just where we're from. We're from the sun. The term Igbo is interesting too, because Igbo see Igbo as just original people, the original people, period, right? So if a person says that this is Igbo, it means this is from the beginning, from the original. So when I say humanity, all those things, if I were speaking Igbo, I would say Igbo, right? But the idea is that we come from the sun. That's where we're from. We're linked. It's our power source. Always is, and it's our connection to the higher power. Nandi, let me see. What do you have? Oh, just the new numbers? Okay, thank you. Cool, good job, thank you, man. All right, so Nandi's really loving this role. I thought it was because of Biafra thing. Yeah, so Biafra, the term comes from, it's before the Biafra, like the first republic, the first Biafra republic. It's from before it, right? So Biafra is named after this concept, right? It gets that from this concept, right? From Anyang. That's why you see on the map, you see the rising sun, right?
Wait, are you sure you want to be on the line for until 5 a.m.? I might doze off or just maybe, or I just might doze off or might get tired of sitting in this chair.
No, I won't be all the way till, I won't be that long.
For like 10 hours.
I know, I won't be that long. I was just being silly. Oh man, Nandi really is about to unionize, man. Talking about my hours are too long. So my umunna heads, awesome, Onyishi, who are supposed to be the custodian of Offor, are now all Catholics, have neglected Offor umunna. How do I restart? Well, in order to restart, you have to wait your turn. So if they are being goofy with their turn, that it's still their place. It's still theirs. It still belongs to them.
Someone said you are a good father.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So the
someone said, would Nandi speak to my bank account?
what? What did they say?
Would Namdi speak to my bank account?
I don't understand what that means. I'll get to that comment in a minute.
Daddy?
Give me a minute. I have to answer this person's question, okay? I'm good.
How do you get past this?
Just click anywhere else on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. So, umuna, yes. So if your umuna person's being goofy, you have to just kind of wait for their turn to end. When it's your turn, you can correct things. But you don't, there's an ilu that says, Offor ma onye jia. So the Offor knows who holds it. So there's no restarting if somebody else is already in that place. Now you can do your role, you can participate in the meeting, in your family meeting, right? You can participate in your family meeting. I participate in mine. I started participating more than I used to in the past, and I'm really grateful for it. It's a blast. I'll start participating in your family meeting. And as you're participating in your family meeting, remember that the way you're thinking and feeling, you're not alone. But they may need, everything at home is democratic. Everything is voted on. So perhaps they need somebody in the family meeting to speak up so that the rest of them will say, yeah, I think he's right, he's correct, or to make the case. Now, as you're dealing with your onishi and all those things, it's not that you'll just come because you were watching the medicine show on YouTube and start telling him what to do. You understand. You know what it takes to increase the magnitude of your voice at home, right? So just make sure your life is in order, right? Make sure your ducks are in order too, that you're showing progress, you're moving forward. And as you're progressing, people want to now hear the words of somebody who's living a life that they want to live as well.
We were doing good. We just needed 5 people, but now we need 7.
So you gotta let me talk though. That's why.
Just go.
Okay, all right. Make sure your life is moving forward. I don't know if you're married or not. Your words have more gravity, obviously, if you're married. I don't even know if they'll allow you in the meeting if you're not married. That kind of thing. So yeah, just play your role, play your part. When it's your turn, you'll do the right thing, the correct thing. And make sure that you are an exemplar of what you're talking about. It's not that you're out here being useless, but you're telling them that they should be talking about Offor and so forth. Yeah, he's committed. Oh, Namdi is committed. Namdi is committed. Hold on. Is it safe to travel to Igbo land alone if you haven't been to Nigeria? Okay, so my wife knows this about me. My brothers know this about me. My sister knows. Everybody knows about me. I always get stuck on one subject for like 2 weeks, and I don't let it go, and it becomes really obnoxious. And the subject I'm stuck on right now is, and I'm just going to be blunt, Black people and and the safety of the environment they live. And it's not what you think. It's not that they're making the place unsafe. But if you are in the middle of, like, it could be the safest place on earth, and you ask for some reason, you ask our people, is this, oh, no, man, you don't come. They're starting with Toronto now. Oh, yeah, you don't want to come to Toronto, Crody. You don't want to come to Toronto. It's not safe around here. Chicago, oh no, don't come to Chicago. Don't come to Chicago. Jamaica, oh man, they'll do this to you in Jamaica. They'll do that to you. Haiti, oh, they'll do that. Everywhere. Nigeria, and then meanwhile you go there, everybody's chilling. London, oh, don't go to London. Don't go to London. Paris, don't go to Paris. Don't go to Paris, So yeah, I don't want to be one of them, oh, it's not safe, Nobody has any reason to bother you anywhere you go, right? Nobody has any reason to bother you anywhere you go. So you're safe wherever. Now, something bad can happen to you if you travel. Something bad can happen if you stay home, right? But if you ask the average person, they will never say it's safe. Just like if you ask the average Chicago, hey, is Chicago, they'll tell you no. And the average Houstonian black person, they'll say no. And the average, I don't know what it is. I don't think this is going to make too much sense to anybody because I haven't really formed this thought all the way. I know what I'm trying to say. The impulse is there, but the thing, the talk, what set me off is when this, I started getting this wave of like Canadians talking about how dangerous Canada is, like Toronto. Man, come on, dude. Like, first of all, who cares if it's not dangerous, like safe? Like cares, dude?
We need 4 people.
You need 4 more people?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. Right? Who cares? You know. New York. You don't want to come to New York. You know. I don't want to come to New York. I don't want to come to the most visited city on planet Earth. What's gonna happen to me? Okay, it's not safe. Oh, okay. I had a. If you guys knew where I lived, you'd understand the full comedy of this, right? I was walking home from the gym one day, and this barber pulls up. I'm only here temporarily. This barber pulls up. We're the only 2 adult black men in this entire place, and he's like, "Hey man, what you doing?" You know, he's like, I'm walking. We knew each other. I'm like, "Oh, I'm walking home." He's like, "Man, hop in, man. I'll drop you off." I'm like, "I bet." And so, I get in the car. He's like, "Yeah, man, you can't walk around here no more, man. It's not like it used to be." I'm like, "Bro, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's not safe." Well, I'm like, "Bro, are you sure?" Like, you sure? I'm in Iowa, but I'm in like the part of Iowa that Iowans think you're soft for being in, right? And so he's like, "Yeah, you can't be here. Like, you can't walk around like that." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Oh, it's just different. Things are changing, you know. Like, it's not safe that the crime rate's going up." I'm like, "Okay, dude. Like, so yeah, if you want to go to Nigeria, you're fine. You know, I don't know, but then if you go and something stupid happens, it's on me because I told you, right? So all I gotta say is, if something stupid's supposed to happen to you and you stay home, it'll happen there. If you go, it'll happen. So just go. There are 45 plus million people in Igbo land. They're living their life. They're perfectly fine. I hope I'm making sense. Yes, married. Hey, he said, "Congrats, son of milk." Yeah. Then definitely you need to be in your family meeting. So since you're married, congratulations, one day you are a full-fledged leader in that community now. So in your family now. So just participate. If it's a WhatsApp group, if it's physical, whatever it is, just get in there. Um, just gradually, or whatever pace you want to follow, just recommend the things that need to be recommended. Hey, one of the things that happens is when an onishi, when they don't want to like hold the Offor, they'll have somebody in the family do it for them. But the onishi has to say, "Okay, have that person do it first." So you can be the one that suggests that, "Hey, I'm seeing that this isn't happening. And we need somebody else to do it for us if this person doesn't want to do." And maybe you might be the person that they volunteer to do it, right? But that onishi, the person who's supposed to hold it, is going to give the permission for it to be held by somebody else, right? You would be very surprised how little resistance you'll encounter, right? I guess I keep using my family as an example, and I don't believe we're an anomaly, but like whatever. People, based on everybody's comments, I guess so. But like, for example, now we are rebuilding the obi in my family, right? The obi is like let's call it the family shrine, right? And the old one was built like well before I was born, and it's like terracotta, it's earth and that kind of thing, and so it's not maintaining well. And so we're building a stronger cement one. They've actually I've been commissioned to design the inside, right? I've been elected to design the inside, and so forth. And so, we were building this thing, and there was just absolutely no resistance whatsoever, right? There's zero. In fact, the enthusiasm is insane. Like everybody's donating like more money than we even need to build the thing. Everybody wants to make sure that they had a hand into getting it done. And not everybody is me. Some people a lot of them go to church. My family group is a lot of, that type of thing. But we're not like super Christian now. I guess some people are more than we are. So I'll give them a. Do the Igbo claim to come from Congo originally, like other African nations do? No, they don't. How do you create your altar? I want to know how to make mine. So I have a video called how to make an altar, but or like how to build an altar, check my channel for that. But if you want something quick, I'll try to be quick with this answer. Now, what's up?
Daddy, the other New Year, well, we like downloaded everything. Can we do the same thing on this New Year?
No, we're not downloading this. Yeah, so I don't have this kid his tablet. No. Let me remember it. How to build an altar, right? First thing you're going to do is have something there that represents you, right? If you have something there and it doesn't feel like you, if you don't feel like you're representing yourself, find something else. Switch it until you get something that feels like, yes, this represents me. I use an Easter Island head, right? I use an Easter Island head like no, it's not really little. It's like this big figurine of an Easter Island head, and I love it, right? Then you get something that represents your ancestors, right? These are your ancestors you know by name, okay? It's not just like ancestor or the ancestors, that kind of thing. So you learn a name, you put something to represent them. You learn a name, you put something to represent them. Have you ever seen a diagram of like the solar system where it's like the sun and all the planets going around it? That's an altar. That's what that is. Those diagrams, it's an altar, and that's representing the solar system. And so it's the same thing for you. So you represent you, and then all the things that orbit in your ezumezu, your full and total you, the unseen you, the seen you, all that stuff. It will grow over time, right? So I myself, I have knowledge of, I think, about 7 of my ancestors. And I only represent the ones on my father's line. So I thought it was 7. It's like 5. So I know 5. And so, I represent them, each of them a different way, that kind of thing, right? That's a good way to start. Some people will then represent their chihuahua, which is their agun. It's the same thing, right? So represent their agun. Now, what is your agun? Your agun is the part of you that reincarnates from a past life, right? It's a part of you that has lived here before, passed away, and is coming back through you to continue its mission in the world, to continue its purpose, or to actualize the reality that you were born to actualize. So whatever your purpose is, your destiny, that is a part of you that knows what that is. And because you're representing you, you're going to put something that represents it there. I use a Buddha head, right? I have a little Buddha head that I use that to represent it. And so originally I used to have the Buddha head whispering into the ear. I figured it like it was whispering into the ear of the me representation. But lately, not even lately, I guess it's been like a year and a half, 2 years now. Hold on. So what I did was that I now put, and it fit like a puzzle, right? I put it here to represent the higher mind, the inner mind, and the true self, right? Not that this is false, but that this now serves as a shell and a vessel that carries this, right? So I'm using these symbols to communicate who I am. As I learn who I am more and more, it changes, it alters, that kind of thing. So right now, I don't have the ancestor representations by themselves. They're in here, right? And that's a message that I'm sending myself, or a truth that I'm representing, right? That kind of thing. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm sitting here.
Now, when I get out of the tundra, when I get out of this very cold place that I live, I'll move everything back outside. But where I'm at now, it doesn't make sense to have it outside because you can't maintain a garden in this, man. Cool. I'm always thinking of protecting my future, my family, life. What types can I Types of things I do can increase my protection. Okay, very awesome. So one of the things, the primary thing to do as far as protection goes is Offor, right? So here's another thing that you can have at your altar. And as again, don't worry about doing it right or I forgot that part. Oh, no, what's gonna happen? Just don't worry about that, right? It's a lot less you must do and a lot more I feel like doing, right? So the Offor is typically represented with a staff, right? Like a staff you can hold by hand, usually about this long, kind of this wide, maybe sometimes smaller, that kind of thing. But it's a staff you can hold in your hand. I'm trying to find it. I don't have one. I'm gonna get one made at home. I don't want to like make my own.
Daddy.
Yeah, Nandi, what's up, boy?
I think I just saw myself.
Okay, no problem. So the Offor is a staff that you hold, right? And it's a staff, and then though I'm not seeing this style of them anymore, so I'm wondering why. But it's usually bundled. It's usually like there's a tying that ties it together, right? And so what the Offor represents is the pact, right? This is the pact that you make with your chi before you are born, before you come into existence, right? So for example, the Ilu says that when the chi of a blind man sends him into battle, it is already accounted for his blindness. There's another Ilu that says it is because of Offor and Ogun, which I'm kind of going to explain both. It's because of Offor and Ogun that the earthworm uses Offor and Ogun to dig through the earth. So if you think about the earthworm has no hands, it has no spine, it has nothing that would show you that it has the fortitude to dig. If I told you to get a digging tool and somebody got you a limp worm-like thing, right, it would not be optimal for digging. But because of Offor, that worm can dig through the earth, right? So what is Offor? Offor is that pact you make with your creator. And that pact says, it is whatever it is, right? But it's two-ended. So you keep to your end of that pact, you're protected. All right? If you keep to because the earthworm keeps to its end of the pact, it can dig through the earth without hands, right? Because the blind man keeps to his end of the pact, he can go into battle when his chi sends him and wins. You understand? So the Offor is the ultimate protection, right? Nothing will happen to you unless it's the time of your creator, God's time, as they say. You understand? But nothing out of nowhere. If somebody, there's another Ilu that says, if a man is hit by an arrow, it is Ogun that decides whether the arrow will hit. Or if somebody shot with an arrow, it's Ogun that decides whether the arrow enters, right? So what is Ogun? So remember earlier I said the Offor you keep with your pack. When you keep with your pack, Ogun is cosmic protection. No, don't click any of that, please. Hit pause. So I'm editing a video. My son just clicked on it, so I hope nothing. Hold on, give me a minute.
I hope I didn't click anything.
No, you're fine. So Ogun is, if you keep to your pact, Ogun is cosmic protection. Nothing can happen to you, period. Right? If you don't keep to your pact, Ogun is what destroys you or what allows the lack of protection to set in. So a good way to think of it is like a house. Your Offor is your house. The events of the world that are not supposed to happen to you or that are unwanted are like the weather. So if it's rainy outside, your house protects you from the rain. If it is blazing hot, your house is what's protecting you from the shade, is shading you from it. If you step outside of your house, if you step outside of your Offor, it's you and the elements. It doesn't mean something's immediately going to happen to you, right? It doesn't mean something bad's going to immediately happen to you, but you're not protected anymore, right? So when it starts raining, you're going to get hit. And all of that. So I hope that makes sense. The first place to look for protection is your Offor because you're already protected. It's just a matter of knowing how to access that protection, which is keeping your Offor. Now, as far as what your chi wants and doesn't want, right, or what that agreement is, you'll notice earlier I said a lot of things when I was breaking the kola nut. If you were here, or not breaking kola nut, but like breaking the kola nut. And so I said that my heart is clean, right? So I don't know what my pact is. I don't remember it, right? But I know that I know that keeping a clean heart is going to cancel a whole lot of different things. That means maybe I'm not being jealous, I'm not being spiteful, I'm not being hateful, all these things, and I'm good as far as that goes. My hands are clean, right? I'm not using my hands to commit evil against anybody. I'm not using my hands to hurt anybody. I'm not using my hands to desecrate myself or my loved ones or that kind of thing. I'm using my hands the way the divine wants my hands to be used, right? My mind is clean. I'm not thinking evil, right? The Offor is about morality. It's about morals, right? It's about justice, if you want to call it karma too, all those things. So I'm saying all these things that, hey, I don't know what the exact rules are, but these are the things I have not done. This is where I stand right now. So that's what makes me worthy of speaking to you. Now, earlier I said somebody had asked how to talk to your chi. I said one of the things that separates the way Igbo do it and the way like maybe Christians do it is that you're not really asking, you're saying. But you can't just be saying, can't just be anybody saying, right? You're saying, I'm worthy of speaking to you because this is how I am. There's an ilu that says, and it's a very popular one at home, a child that washes his hands can eat with the elders, right? A child who washes his hands can eat with the elders. For cultural context, men, specifically titled men, don't eat with children, right? They eat separately.
Do you mind if I go to rest a little bit?
Yeah, you can go rest. I'm almost done. Okay. So thank you so much, Nandi. So titled men don't eat with children, right? And so, but the Ilu says that, but if a child washes his hands, he can come and eat with where the elders are eating, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's what it is. Just letting you know, hey, my hands are clean and that kind of thing. Walk with me. I already know I'm protected, so I don't need to talk about all that. So hope that kind of helps. Keep awful. Say he's committed. Yes, married. Awesome. I joked with my family on how they all look chill and fresh this Christmas. And I thought they all had Naira scarcity. Okay, son of Nook, remember earlier when I was ranting about how ridiculous, and this isn't just Nigeria, this is everywhere you find black people on earth, right? We can never just say, yeah, everything's all right. Yeah. If you talk to me, how are you doing? Oh, I'm suffering. They have kidnappers here. Oh, they got this here. This person's been chilling, man. This person's been chilling. Nothing going on. They're perfectly fine. Everybody's safe. That kind of thing. So yeah, we're just not credible sources of travel information and that kind of thing. We need to work on that. Is astrology significant to the common Igbo person? Not the common Igbo person, no. I don't see, astrology doesn't seem to play that big of a role as far as Igbo spirituality. It doesn't really play that big of a role at all. A lot of DBOs will tell you different things about astrology, as far as how our ancestors see it or their understanding and that kind of thing, and that's fine, but it doesn't play that big of a role, that kind of thing. Now, one of the things our ancestors say is that for every human being, there is a star in the sky that is theirs, and there is a grain of sand in the earth that is theirs as well. That's why when I was breaking Aji earlier, I said Omo, Ajana na Omo Papando Eligwe, which is children of sand and star, right? So you're connected earth and to providence by way of those two anchors, right? That keep you in there, that come into creation with you and that leave creation with you. Somebody says, how big is the shrine? I'm only 22 and I want to introduce these traditions back to my family. Oh, that's so cool. You can make it as big as you want. Ours is going to probably be as big as the room I'm standing in right now. It's not huge. It is my great uncles, he was, the one keeping it up. But it was also his workspace too. But yeah, it's not huge. I don't know if I'm the best at. I would imagine, because I'm not physically there either. So it is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, actually, let me say, yeah, I'm just going to say 6 by 6 steps, which is a weird unit of measure, but you can step six times and then 6 the other way. I'm going to assume that's what this room is, and I think it's about the size of this room, but I could be remembering it wrong too. It could be bigger, or it could be smaller. I was a kid when I last, well, no, I guess I was a kid when I interacted with it most. So it's just like a room, like a regular room in an apartment. But how do I put this? It's whatever you can do is fine. For some people, it's a tree, right? For some people, it's a tree. For some people, it's like just like a figure, like a figurine. For some people, it's a wall. For some people, it is like a circle in the ground. And then for some people, it's this great giant room. For some people, it's a small intimate room. It's whatever you guys choose. It's just you're just giving a house to like whatever it is that your family considers sacred and their ancestors and so forth. Bro, I'm so mad at how they let everything deteriorate. Family later, or all the ancient totems, so sad. Yeah, man, get in that family meeting. You'll be very surprised. You're not the only one that feels the way you feel. It's just sometimes somebody has to say it first. So once you start saying it, they start seeing, okay, this person has sense. This person's a leader. Let's move with them. Do Igbos claim to be older than the Yoruba? Yes. Actually, Igbos believe the other cultures around them derive from them. Yeah, yeah. So there you go. So thank you for answering that, son. Hold on. Yeah, we're their grandfather. Brazil. Okay, good night, Michael. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate your questions. I've done Offor on several occasions, and they said I'm holding Offor or Dema. I'm actually confused if I need one. I will like to know how to learn more about my path. So, okay, Chuku, yeah. If they're saying you're holding Offor, go and have one made. You're gonna, as a man, you'll need to have one made anyway. So you might as well just hurry up. Now, I would advise getting the Offor once you have your own home. There's nothing like having Offor, but you're not the Offor in the house that you're holding the Offor in. So once you have your own home, I would get the Offor. Like right now, I don't have an Offor because I have an apartment, and this apartment is not a home, right? Somebody can kick me out of it, so it's not. I'm not gonna have an Offor in this house, right? That kind of thing. I may squatter. So, but we're working very hard towards buying a home, and once we buy that home, I'll have the Offor made. But I'll wait until then, and so forth. So I would, if you have your own home, I would go get one made. Some people will just go ahead and get one without the home, but in my own logic, and this is the logic that belongs to me, I can tell you why it makes sense to me, and if you agree, you can agree. I think you have to have your own home before you have an Offor. But once you do that, you have the home, you make the Offor, and it's not a rush, but it's a motivator, if anything. If you want to know your purpose, I would get the Offor made, and then just begin that greeting and the communicating. The message will start coming. Things will become more clear to you, right? I don't know. Could washing your hand possibly mean or imply something else in the proverb? Since aka means more. Wow. Deep, 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 deep. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Definitely. Yeah, so one of the things that you'll notice with Igbo language is aka is both hand and spirit. That's what poem, that kind of thing. The poem. I guess it happens in English too. I don't know. Is, oops, in Afaibo. Is there anything related to the tree of life? Yes, in Igbo history, absolutely. So, absolutely yes, absolutely yes. So, not for everybody, but for the individual. So, what happens at home is when a child is born, traditionally, a child's umbilical cord and the afterbirth from their birth is placed with a seed, buried with a seed, and buried in the ground. And then the tree that emerges from that spot becomes their tree of life, right? I'll use the term tree of life, meaning that throughout life's rituals, that's the tree that they will use, that's the tree that they'll receive things from, so on and so forth. For example, when a woman gets married, her tree of life is going to be in her village, which is where her father's from. But she will take a branch from it to her new home, which is her husband's village, and she'll use that as a part of her own personal altar, the alomchi, or the eku, her own personal altar that she keeps. Um, will have a branch from that tree, and so forth. So that's an example. But the tree of life is a tree that was planted with your afterbirth and umbilical cord, planted with your afterbirth and umbilical cord. Usually after 8 days, but I mean, at this point, just based on the fact that you can't really be having a bunch of placenta for without without the authorities bothering you. Don't be too stressed about that. We have a piece of my son's umbilical cord, and we don't have my daughter's. Unfortunately, I can't find it. But I'm gonna have their teeth, like when they lose their baby teeth. And when we get home, we're going to plant their trees. My grandfather planted me, all of our siblings. He planted a tree for us, like when we went back, but he just gave us a seed and said, "Okay, find a place and plant this." And we didn't use any of the extra stuff. I don't even remember where my tree is at, honestly. But I remember because we lived in Nigeria you know, for a couple of years, and I remember when we came back, one of the things we kept talking about was like, oh, I wonder how tall my tree is, and my dad stayed, no, I'm sorry, my mom stayed behind when we came with my dad. And so we would ask my mom would ask uncle, okay, uncle says this one is tall now. This one's not even growing, yada, yada, yada. We laugh about that kind of thing. So that was one of the things that kept us very locked in at home. Um, I don't remember where each person's tree is. I don't remember where my tree is at. Maybe my sister will remember. She was a little more lucid than I was. But yeah, that's the tree of life at home. That's the tree of life. Are there any Igbo lore about the star Sirius? Hey Erica, good to meet, or glad that you're here. I don't know about good to meet you. I think we've probably already talked. I don't know anything about that. The Sirius, but if I learn, I'll share. If I learn, I'll share. Homes are so expensive now compared to our forefathers' time. Knowing your purpose seems to be a prerequisite to make money needed to afford the house. Yeah, but it Igbo people don't care. So if it's expensive, if it's not expensive, if I must do it, I'll do it. Right? If it's if it's costs $1 million, if it costs $5, if it's being done by people with 10 fingers and I have 10 fingers, I can do it too. That's the mentality. So that's it. Let me tell you. All right. So here for context, right? Not everybody unless they're just not, they don't care, which is a few people. Most people I'm gonna pull this out of here. Hold on. Most people will buy a house. Like let's say, I live in the West now. They'll buy a house in the West, but they'll also build a house at home. That and they'll maintain the two of them at the exact same time. And they may also be sponsoring different people in their family and things like that. And it's just how you live. It's not whatever. So yeah, it is expensive, but whatever it takes to get that house, go get it, man. But it's necessary because it's not that somebody will be having the Offor and just be paying rent to someone. That doesn't make any sense. Offor means authority. That I have the authority, that I use my own will and my mind and my abilities to make this living space possible. And this is the Offor that represents um, all of the forces that were with me as I did that and so forth. So some people will tell you, yeah, go ahead whenever you want. And again, it's if you want to, that's fine. But I think it has more meaning once you get your own home. And if it's expensive or if it's a difficult journey, then yeah, so be it. That makes it even more worthwhile. But yeah, being Igbo is very expensive. It's a it's an extraordinarily expensive ethnic group to belong in. I think right now the Ozo titles are going for like $25,000 to get an Ozo title. 25,000 is what I heard. I think in like Onitsha area. Um, Other places are cheaper. But that one is like, hey, when you get that kind of thing. So it's hard to say. Uh, didn't have the privilege to circumcise my son on the eighth day. Didn't meet the match or doctor's schedule. Yeah, sometimes where you're at, you have to bend. There's an ilu that says when his wife started making watery soup, the man learned to dent his gari. So when you make a ball of gari, and if the soup is not like if the soup is firm, you can just dip it and you'll collect enough and you'll get it. But if it's really watery, it's gonna be running. So if you dip it, you can make a little pool, and you'll take in the gari that way. So it's just adapting. But yeah, not them selling titles. No, selling titles is normal. It's completely normal. It's not abnormal. It's not. It's That's the tradition. That's the way it is, right? That's the way it is. So, it's the it's hard to explain to a Westerner because Westerners are the West is based on Christianity, and Christianity money equals bad, right? But if you're taking a title, you give something to that title society. You understand? And oftentimes the thing you're giving is to show that you have the ability to carry this title the way it's supposed to be carried. So somebody who is an Azal, you are a leader in your community, and you are a person of great ability. You're a person who ekweme, you say and you do, right? So they use that as a benchmark. All right, if you're an Azal, you bring this, bring that, and then 25,000, right? 2 cows, 6 goats, this and this, that, and 25,000. It's not abnormal. It's a part of the culture, that kind of thing. You get married, you pay a bride price, right? Egon wine, that kind of thing. It's normal. It's an expensive ass culture. It's an expensive way to live, man. So I thought you meant like the fake church titles. Yeah, yeah. Okay, no, not those. No, I mean like the real titles. Yeah. No, you definitely pay. You pay. That's normal. Does today's law still incorporate the moral obligation of the? Yeah, it still does. It still does. Yeah. People want to like, oh, if you. I don't want to go on this tirade. I already did it, and I'm still formulating thought. A lot of people try to claim that they don't, but every like Ozo I've met represents the title very well. So yeah, absolutely, it's the same thing. Um, Ozo is not as strict as Nze. Nze is older, and I think Nze is older, and because Nze is older, a lot of the rules are not as flexible, or not flexible, but they're not as they're a little more like rigid. But each person is going to do their Azal based off of their own ability, like who they are, right? So, for example, now there's an idea of what an Azal is. Now, I can take my money and go pay for the title and wear the hat and wear the clothes and then just not represent that at all, just be the opposite of what that is. but people know that he's also, but that kind of thing. But when you meet a real Ozo, somebody who's really representing that thing, and they went through the same process as the person who's not representing it well, anytime we need an Ozo to represent us, we'll go to the one that makes sense, right? We'll go to the one that makes sense, right? It's not. It's almost like, think about it like I say I'm a rapper, you say you're a rapper, everybody says they're a rap, kind of thing. Like we all decide we're rappers. But when it's time to rap, we'll know who the real rapper is, right? So anybody can answer the title, that kind of thing. Anybody can answer unless they've like committed abominations, or like we know for sure we can't let this person in this building. This guy is, that kind of thing, which is not common. By the time it reaches that point, you're probably in prison. But that type of thing. Anybody can answer a title, but it's you give the title value, right? To you, that gives that title value. So if I say that I'm a painter, another person says that I'm a painter, but I'm painting at a very high level, and other person is not doing the thing, then they're both saying they're painters, but that one is that's the one right there. Those today's also okay, cool. So all right, y'all. I think we have maxed out. I think we're all out of questions. We always tend to do this at the same time. So my lips are super dry. So oh, I hope this doesn't look too crazy on the replay. But I'll do my. So, anyways, thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna be trying to be up tonight. I'm trying to finish this video that I can release in the morning. So you guys might see a new video in a new video tomorrow morning, which I haven't released a video in months, right? In months. And so, but I wanted to have a couple of videos like on deck before releasing a video so that I can go back to a more regular schedule as opposed to like chasing the next video, which I got into that habit towards the end. And it kind of, it's not the smartest way to do this. So, new videos coming tomorrow. For those of you who are looking to join the Patreon community, I've attached the link, patreon.com/the medicine show. If you have any questions, you can just message me directly there, or join the group study, join the discussions that we have, and so forth. Um, then, of course, the patrons have access to the Odinani calendar. We're all talking about New Year's is coming up. As I said earlier, Ndibo will acknowledge the second moon. Well, really, we will acknowledge the new yam as the new year. It's not called New Year. There's no real New Year celebration in Igbo culture, but the second moon means that the year has officially begun, right? And so I found it interesting that when Africans were captured and enslaved and brought to the New World, that particular acknowledgement becomes the foundation for like Mardi Gras, Carnival, and all these things, which is usually the second moon. Once the second moon appears, then they do that. Third moon on Waikenga, which correlates with a lot of. Anyways, I'll go another time. So the calendar is available to patrons too. If you can't see the calendar on your Google Calendar and you're a patron, message me and we'll work through it. But it works for 99.9% of people. So check your Google for that. That being said, you guys, nogade, unugeto, nkobula notiaka, ogade n'ụwa, ogade otu a na eke, n'orie, n'afọ, na nkwọ, ise. All right.